breathing, depending on where you're from.
Andy Daisy Design transforms any space, and Intuit QuickBooks pulls everything together in one place with AI agents working for her. It comes up. And
All right. Think it's been a topic of conversation more so per se. It's all depending on, I guess, individual quote status and quo, but depending on however you look at the dynamic, especially depending on a few things that come into play, a few small things depending on religion, race, continent, and also very much other things. But the topic of the conversation is more so all the same, it's all the same gender equality. Topic of conversation is who has it per se. More so, I'm gonna say easier per se. Um, and and I want to just like break down the content of what I mean by that. More so like who has like more of a easier time to enter in pleasing and leaving without repercussions more so per se throughout the dynamic. Um, Again, it's dependent on how you look at structure, how you look at where you are, where it is, the climate, also as well. Again, I don't feel like some people in certain areas don't have, to that degree, certain, dynamics or impact to play. For instance, I would say here, based in the U.S., social media can sometimes come into a play negatively. Sometimes negatively, sometimes positively. There's various ways depending on who the per person is. And another thing I kind of like look at is also as well, just sometimes like the overall perspective of that person per se, because that person might not always be that for you, or they might not even be for you at all. So it's just, it's depending on sequence, depending on, where you at in life. More so, it's always just, just a generalized conversation, just wanted to see, gender wise, who has it more so said easier. Again, anybody can come into the panel, they can come in comment, per se, whatever, I for per se looking on aspect, and I'm saying based upon me in the US more so, I can kind of say, and looking at it from a different personnel. And hello there, welcome to the live stream. To have topic of the conversation is who has the more so easier pathway within walking in and walking out of a relationship. So, and again, hi there, JD. JD is 4 years. So again, topic of conversation is who has it more easier. I believe women, and I'm saying based upon being from the U.S. and being in the climate of today, I do feel like women kind of have it more easier, and I'm saying in the U.S. per se. I can't say for any other personal dynamic or anybody else is like different per se, but and the reason for context for my statement is women 9 times out of 10, it's they're usually the ones that are choosing who they're selecting. They're selecting upon who they want to pursue upon dating and going further. Depending on said conversation and climate on where they at in their lives again. So it's depending, 9 times out of 10 women have, more of a they have more of a selection. And it's true due to their natural beauty, and there's no disingenuous take nor so. It's just saying that if it was they're in the realm of where we're at, women have more of an ability to choose, rather, like I said, to walk in and walk away. And um, again, is from the aspect they have the choice. Women are predominantly um, always more sexual. No, I can't say they're more sexualized, but they're always more beautified and unified within the conversation. And beauty is most of the compared looks, and that's just to say that every woman is beautiful in their own aspect. But again, it's to each his own, depending, like I said, on where the climate is. Again, I can't say how it is in other different continents, different religions. Because that also sometimes do plays into a factor in history and culture history. Again, them things sometimes they come sometimes in the type of conversation, depending on where you at in your structured relationship dating life. Again, I don't know because everybody has a different way and a different outlook on dating. So again, everybody's outlook of it can be different from the way I easily look at it. Again, for me, I would probably take a slow time, but me taking a slow time is me wanting to really get to know. So that's just, I guess, a little thing per se. I mean, we can be adults at the same time, but the same time, I really want to get to know the person of who I'm with, especially my and not even just like investing, but just investing all of my time with because that is a lot. I see we got a lot of that going on. Okay. But yeah, so again, it's to each his own on, how you date, and it's depending on where you at in your stage in life. I know it's like people say it's a whole different vibe depending on if you in your 20s, 30s, 40s, a whole kind of like different dynamic. I'm thinking, depending on I get like I said again, where you at in life. Some people may have already um depending on circumstances, have been married, have already been through the ringer, or never been. So it's like other different circumstances, or their significant one that they were with, unfortunately, maybe did not had unfortunate timing. So there's always other different dynamics again when it comes to dating, but I do believe women kind of have like the more easier way, the more easier bounce back when it comes to dating and the initial dating itself. I'm not going to, and even like within, during, or after a breakup, they're sometimes a little bit even more. They're even more easier to successfully bounce back, depending on per se person. Again, other different dynamics sometimes play into a factor. Again, it's more always come down to the woman always has to like the man more, and it's just no knock. It's just the real initial attraction. If she doesn't really like the guy 9 times out of 10, then there's not going to be a long perceivable future. I can see in that relationship again if you are not the man that she wants to see you, or not in the limelight of where you see yourself, is going to end in disaster, man. So that's why I can see where it's more easier, but it's more demanding for a man per se, because then again, depending on said type, because this is also for can't say for every type, because every male and every man, every female is bred differently, or in hindsight made differently depending on circumstances, I say, going through of life. So within that, I'm saying that depending on who you are as a person and who they see you are is where they would want to be led to. So that's in that regard, that is what I'm saying. So if you are not in the vision of what she see you, or as you see yourself as a man and as an individual, that's where I can see the misguidedness come from. And then I can't say not misguidedness, and then because like this all comes to pure intentions from the start. So it's like that's again with a different conversation. So if both are coming disingenuous, it's just like it's just for kicks and giggles. We can kind of per se, but again, I predominantly think it's more easier for women in this conversation in the initial dating stages. Again, even if you want to go into certain segments of marriage and whatever, the woman 9 times out of 10 has the more easier leeway to um initially go ahead and walk away. Again, it's no knock, it's um no downside. It's just the realness of a conversation. I'm just saying from the outlook perspective, rather if it's via social media, rather if it's even even just on a personal take on the outlook on, like I said, because when it comes to dating on a social scale, it's depending where you at, because not everybody's in the how can you say it, top 10%. And because there's I'm just using the you probably per se maybe the US for said individuals, because again everybody has a different criteria. So women come with certain requirements that you have to meet. Then again, I mean, usually we're not going to the meeting ground or meeting table at that point, and there's no going to be nothing to discuss even further. I can honestly see that 9 times out of 10. Um, Rather if it was me personal or even just a one individual stories himself. Again, rather it's all like I said situation. Can't say how it would be in any other different country. If anybody else had wanted to give an input, again, it's all said opinion. Again, just giving different takes and then seeing if anybody had wanted to give their take. Per se, like I said, on the topic at hand, when it comes to dating and the initiation and walk and the initial conclusion of it. When it comes to that chapter, again, rather if it's said dating, marriage, or whatever, it's always feel like it comes down to that parallel. And there's few, I can say few that are probably known in the history of time. And again, I don't know if anybody has any other different opinions. Anybody else had any other different opinions? Anybody else had a different, take outlook? Love to hear their opinion. Again, I am based upon the U.S. I just see here what when it comes to via social media, said not everything that's in the light ain't always coming out, especially from the dark. So I am not one that's going to be particularly saying that everything that's on social media is everything for what it sees. I can just only go from what I standpointly hear. And if it's different somewhere else, then I understand. Again, um, I look at the ratio when it comes to women and men. There is a what's it 4-2 ratio of women to men. So it's always like, predominantly going to be, that said conversation, unfortunate, said conversation that kind of like makes it better for, men for their opportunity. But unfortunately, like I said, if you don't come to the meeting ground already prepared, deal's not going to be closed. So I guess that's true with from certain people of my experiences. Again, if anybody else had any other different experience, I would love to hear their opinion out here. Again, it's just seeing who particularly might have it easier in the walk away. And I say it like this, you know, again, goes to my initial statement from what I said earlier. A man has to, in order to come prepared, in order to get the attraction. So that's why I say it's kind of like a lot more harder for men, a lot more easier for women, just for clear context. Again, not no knock on any women. It's just saying that they're predominantly going to be the one that's choosing said partner. Again, it comes to the stability and safety, understandably for the women's concern, and making sure that nothing can go wrong within that time frame. So again, we are going to go ahead and bring a close to this topic. It was something I was been going to do for a minute, just haven't got a chance to get around to it. Hasn't been one I've been wanting to really not indulge in, but just to see, get the people's opinion, per se, on seeing what their thoughts were. But again, um, going to be going live with more topics later on. Hi, how's it going there, Junior George, 2644? Um, Again, if you guys feel like indifferently in initiation and conclusion that women have it more easier than men, then if you agree, don't agree, then I completely understand. Again, I preference women have it easier because they can walk away. But again, if you have a set opinion, then don't worry. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be doing more content based upon said that random topics I'm gonna pull from out the week. So if you are, make sure you subscribe, be a part of the community, and be tuned in for more of my content at live and live streams. And we'll be back with you another time. Take it easy.